I got cat hair all over me. Hello, Internet. This is Olin from What I'm Listening To. Hope you all are staying safe, staying healthy, keeping those hands nice and clean, and wearing a mask when you are going outside. Mind you. Welcome back to the second part to my double feature of various artist compilations and box sets. If you haven't done so already, go on back and watch the first part where I talk about various artist compilations, but also there I go into a little detail of what I'm doing with this double feature. But to paraphrase for the context of this video, I will be talking about a good amount of box sets that I own in my collection. These are box sets that are all done by the same artist. These are not various artist compilations. I know I talked about some box sets in that video, but this is all box sets done by one artist. But another thing I'd like to mention is this is definitely not all the box sets I have in my collection. I own a lot of box sets. I love box sets. They look great, they're packaged beautifully, there's usually extra content and great booklets included in them, so I've bought a lot. And over the years, I have brought up different box sets in my videos. In fact, I pulled out some box sets here that we can talk about just very, very briefly, like this low box set full of 10 years worth of B-sides and rarities, this box set of Miles Davis albums featuring Cookin', Diggin', Relaxin', Steamin', and Workin' with Miles Davis. This Tony Conrad box set featuring 4 long droney pieces he's done. And my Duster box set with their first 2 albums, along with a bunch of EPs, B-sides, rarities, basically everything they've done. Yeah, I've talked about those in other videos, but we're not going to talk about them today. These are all box sets I have not talked about in a video, and there's stuff in here that I've been wanting to talk about in some kind of video, but haven't had the chance to, so I'm very excited to jump in and show off what I got here, so let's get started. The first box set I have for you today, I have Wilco's Being There. This album means a lot to me. For starters, Wilco is one of my 2 all-time favorite bands, and of the albums Wilco has put out, this one is my favorite. This box set was released in celebration of its 20th year anniversary. It's been out for that long, it's crazy. It not only has the entire album remastered, but it also has tons and tons and tons of bonus content on here. 5 discs worth of stuff, as a matter of fact. The first 2 discs being the original album. Disc 3 includes outtakes, alternates, and demos. Disc 4 is a live recording of their show at the Troubadour in '96. Oh, and Disc 5 is part 2 of that performance, along with another live recording taken from another show in '96. Basically, when this came out, it was a total no-brainer. In fact, I actually also have the vinyl version of this very box set that I got for free. I won it at a raffling at Amoeba San Francisco, and I was so excited to get it. I didn't expect to win the raffle, but you know what? Some things just work out. But anyways, yeah, this box set, excellent. I love this album so very much. It's Wilco's, I guess you could say, last alternative country effort. It's my favorite album of theirs. The remaster sounds great. The bonus tracks on here are excellent. A total must-have for any of you who love Wilco. The next box set I have for you today, I have Stereolab's Switched On, Volumes 1 through 3. I am pretty late to the Stereolab party. This band is so famous for the sort of lounge, post-rock, electronic rock fusion that they've done over the years. Amongst their lengthy discography, they have a series of albums called Switched On. They released 3 volumes of it, and this box set compiles all 3 volumes, all remastered, into one amazing looking box. I found this box set because I heard a cut off of the first volume. I can't remember which one it was, but I was looking into that and I saw it was Switched On Volume 1, and naturally I saw there was a volume 2 and a volume 3, and I thought, oh man, like I kind of want all of these. So it was nice to see that the box set has everything in one sitting, so I could listen to it all and hopefully have a nice introduction to Stereolab's work. I think of all of these, Switched On Volume 2 might be my favorite. That one I actually might even be the one that's considered the best. But like I said, the fact that it's all in one thing is a really, really cool little experience. I love this. It looks great. The remaster sounds great. The artwork looks good. Yeah, Stereolab, amazing band, great box set. Check it. The next box set I have for you today, I have the Beach Boys, The Smile Sessions. What can I say about the Beach Boys? They're classic. They're amazing. Pet Sounds was one of the best albums ever made, and Smile was supposed to be better than that, according to Brian Wilson. For those of you who don't really know the history of this album, Brian Wilson, who is the lead guy in the Beach Boys, stayed behind to write and record the entirety of the Pet Sounds album, while the rest of the band went across the world to tour. They came back and were kind of flabbergasted by all this weird content that Brian had made. It didn't sound anything like the surf rock kind of stuff they were doing, but reluctantly they all contributed vocals, some instrumentation, and they slapped their name on it and released it. Shortly after its release, Brian wanted to make another album, so he teamed up with his friend Van Dyke Parks to help write the material that would eventually be on this album called Smile. But unfortunately, the Smile sessions got cut short, mostly because Brian's mental health just started to deteriorate. There were times where he couldn't go in the studio because stuff wasn't right. He would have mental blocks, he was arguing with his bandmates, it was just a disaster. Ultimately, Smile never was released, but a more simplified version of the album was released years later called Smiley Smile. It wasn't quite the vision that Brian had, but it was the album nonetheless. But this box set takes all of the recorded stuff they'd done for the album and puts it into one thing. If anything, this is the closest thing we have to hearing the original Smile album. Some of these recordings are a little rough around the edges, some of them are a little more complete than others, but if you are a fan of the Beach Boys, Van Dyke Parks, Pet Sounds even, this is an enjoyable thing to listen to. After listening to Pet Sounds numerous times, and even watching the movie Love and Mercy, I had to get my hands on this. There's some amazing stuff on here. The harmonies are on point, the experimentation is on point, it's just solid pop music. I definitely recommend giving this collection a listen. It's a great look into what would have been considered a better album to Pet Sounds. Good vibration, excitation, good vibration. The next. Oh, hello. I'm once again interrupting this program to bring a bonus box set that I didn't have when I recorded the initial video, but I have right now, and I am once again splicing it into the middle of the feature program, so let's just jump into it. The next box set I have for you today, I have Bedhead 1992 to 1998. This is a wonderfully packaged box set by the good people at the Numero Group. They're a label that takes tons and tons of back catalogs, usually stuff that's out of print or difficult to get your hands on, and they will remaster, reissue these things on CD and vinyl and typically package them in these amazing box sets, and will also include books that will tell you oodles and oodles of information by whatever they packaged. So in this case, this box set features everything that the band Bedhead has done. All 3 of their studio albums, all of their EPs, all their 7-inch releases, and so much more. Now, I technically own the original releases of their 3 studio albums. The only things that I didn't own by them was the EP and the miscellaneous stuff. But I mostly wanted to get this box set because, well, it's actually been something that I've wanted for a while. I remember seeing a used copy of it at Amoeba, and for whatever reason, I didn't buy it. I opted out to buy the individual CDs, which they were cheaper, but I didn't get all the bonus stuff as well as the cool booklet inside, which I'll talk about in a sec. But since I've been interested in box sets lately, I decided, let's just get this thing. I'll get rid of my original editions and I'll replace it with this box set, and here I have it. I'm excited about this because it's everything, and it's all remastered, and it's all gonna probably sound really, really good. And I actually ended up, if I can get the book out here, I actually was reading this book while putting the CDs onto my computer, and there's some great information on here. I barely scratched the surface. It's an 80-page book. It's basically a biography of the band, and I've only made it to about page 13 here, so I got a long way to go. But yeah, I just couldn't help myself. This is such a great band. They make some of the most sad-sounding, some of the most emotional-sounding music I've ever listened to. They're the finest slowcore band that you will ever listen to. And their music is just perfect for all the bleak, bad news that's going out there in the world. It makes me just want to lock myself in my house, just put on all of these albums on a constant repeat and just listen to them over and over again. So yeah, Bedhead, phenomenal, phenomenal band. I got it all in this great box set. If you are a fan of their work, you definitely need to cop this. This is essential. Set I have for you today. I have Miles Davis, The Complete in the Silent Way Sessions. Yet another huge figure in the world of music, in this case, jazz music. I have a lot of Miles Davis in my collection, but I think of all the albums that I've heard, this one is my favorite. The original album is only 2 songs, but they're long cuts, and they are some of the most experimental, spacey, almost post-rock sounding stuff that Miles has ever done. But this collection has not only those 2 tracks that appeared on the album, but tons and tons of other stuff. Rehearsals, stuff recorded in the studio as sort of like a session thing. Some of the tracks cut up so you hear one part of it by itself. And best of all, this excellent book, full of information. It's one of the reasons why I like box sets. I love packaging like this where it's part music, part book, full of useful knowledge. Yeah, this is an amazing box set. I had been seeking it out for the longest time. I had to go back to Amoeba so many times to see if they had it in stock, and the day they had it, I grabbed it. Fun fact, actually, the day I bought this, I met Todd Rundgren, who was doing a reading from his book at Amoeba, and I was with my dad. We went up, shook hands with him, got the book signed, took a picture with him. Kind of a weird coincidence, but anyways, yeah, this box set, excellent. Amazing album. Absolutely recommend it if you were just getting into Miles Davis. Just such a unique sounding jazz record. I've never heard anything else quite like it before. The next box set I have for you today, I have Gass's Und Fern. Gass, or otherwise known as Wolfgang Voigt, is an amazing dark ambient project. He's been around since, I want to say, the late 90s, and he's still making ambient music to this day. My introduction to Gass was actually through his album, if I can find it here. I don't think it's within my reach. Oh, here it is, right here. My first exposure to Gas was through his album Narcopop. I remember seeing this in the electronics section at Amoeba, and I loved the artwork, I loved the packaging, I had to know what it was, so I bought it on a whim. And after listening to that album, I became a fan. But unfortunately, original CD pressings of his other albums are rare and expensive. I remember years later going through the electronica section at Amoeba and seeing that they actually had the original albums available, but they were $50 a piece. Insanity. It was tempting because I like my rare music and I like Gas, but I couldn't bring myself to do it. So then I found this box set, which compiles his, I think, first 3 or 4 albums. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, first 4 albums in one thing here, which the price I paid for this was the same as if I bought one of those original pressings. Though the one stipulation is the first album on this collection is slightly altered, slightly remixed for whatever reason, I'm not sure, but for the most part, everything on here is the original albums. And me being a fan of box sets, I had to buy myself a copy of this. Gas is excellent. Great dark ambient, very dramatic sounding music. The artwork is also a sight to behold here. I think the music accurately reflects what emotions the artwork is trying to convey. Just a magnificent collection. Totally worth checking out. Listen to all his stuff. He is amazing. Staying on the topic of ambient music, the next box set I have for you today, I have Max Richter's Sleep. This box set is actually not a collection of stuff. This whole box set is supposed to be one entire album. The concept behind this album is fascinating. Max Richter wanted to make a series of pieces that were meant to be listened to while you were sleeping. The idea behind this music was to express the various cycles one goes through in a normal 8-hour sleep cycle. And that's exactly how long this album is. It's 8 hours long of music. The different pieces of this album contain elements of classical, drone, ambience, some electronica, but it's all very quiet, very soothing. Again, perfect music to put on when falling asleep. I discovered this album through a 50 best ambient albums of all time list, and when I read the background of this, I had to get my hands on a copy of it. So if you like listening to music for the purposes of falling asleep, or need something mellow to relax to, this is your album. This is 8 hours worth of stuff. You just put it on, let it go. You're good to go. The next box set I have for you today, I have Taproot's B-Sides. Taproot was one of my go-to rock bands that I listened to when I was sort of in my nu metal hard rock phase. Their albums Welcome and Our Long Road Home are still to this day my favorites. I love those albums, though they might not have aged quite as well, but you know, I don't care. I still love them so much. And this collection is just wonderful. It's how many discs is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 discs of content on here. And it all spans from the days when they were just an independent band, to the days when they were recording stuff for their album Gift, to Welcome, to Blue Sky Research, all the way to the Our Long Road Home sessions. I specifically bought this collection for the song These Walls, which was a B-side track off Our Long Road Home that you could only acquire if you bought the iTunes version of the album. But sadly, you can't even buy the album on iTunes anymore. For whatever reason, it got taken down. So having the song on CD was enough of a reason for me to buy this, but really, as a fan of Taproot, this collection is just so great. Some of the stuff on here are just rehearsals, rough demos, some even live recordings, but I'd say if you're a fan, it's all stuff that's worth checking out. I don't even know if you can buy this anymore. I bought it on their website and it was a limited release, but if you can get it, definitely recommend it. It's so, so good. The last box set I have for you today, I am very excited about. This is the thing I'm most excited about. I have Kate Bush Remastered Volume 1. I, shamefully, have barely listened to Kate Bush's music. The only song I knew by her was her song Running Up That Hill, which was covered by the band Placebo. It took me up until just a few days ago to get something of hers. I was watching this mini documentary on her first album and became fascinated by her. And the music that was playing in the documentary was also fascinating, so I took that as an opportunity to go, let's explore her music. Let's finally see what she has to offer. But of course, she's one of those artists where basically everything she's put out is considered great. And I was having a hard time trying to decide which albums I wanted to get first, so I could then go and get their other albums later. But instead of doing that, I found this box set. This box set has her first 7 albums, all remastered, all with their own unique booklets and packaging, and it's got all the albums that I wanted to check out. So, The Kick Inside, Lionheart, Never Forever, The Dreaming, Hounds of Love, The Red Shoes, and The Sensual World. These are all albums I only knew for their covers, but the fact that I can now get them all in one box and be able to listen to them and experience them all together, so excited. So yeah, I haven't even listened to anything off of this yet. I've been saving it for recording this video, and then I'm gonna put it all on my computer and I'm gonna listen to it all in one go. So we'll see what happens. I'm hoping that I really enjoy it. I spent some money on this, but you know what? It's a beautiful box set regardless. It looks so good. Alrighty then, internet, that does it for me. Hey, if you have any box sets that you have in your collection or you've enjoyed, let me hear about it. Leave a comment down below. Maybe I'll check them out and maybe I'll make a follow-up video. Also, if you enjoyed watching this video, hit that subscribe button. It'll show me the support and I'll love your face for it. And you can also follow me on Instagram for even more music. I post a new album on there semi-frequently, talk a little bit about it, and it gives you a bit of an insight of what else is in my collection. Thank you all very, very much for watching this double feature. This is Olin from What I'm Listening To, signing out. Goodbye.